Have you ever felt like you're always behind? Like no matter how hard you try, others always seem smarter, faster, or more talented than you? Maybe you failed again and again, in school, in work, or in life. And deep down, you wonder, what's wrong with me? My friend, what if I told you? Nothing is wrong with you at all. In fact, you might be on the right path. The path that most people are too proud to walk. Because the people who learn like losers often become the biggest winners in the end. Yes, you heard that right. The ones who fail, who fall, who ask stupid questions, who look foolish while learning. Those are the people who rise the highest. The secret of success is not learning like a genius. It's learning like a loser. Let that sink in. When you learn like a loser, you stop pretending that you know everything. You become humble. You start asking questions. You are not afraid to look silly or slow. You don't compete with others. You compete with your yesterday self. You become honest about what you don't know. And that honesty, my friend, is what makes you unstoppable. Because losers don't care about looking smart. They care about getting better. So stay tuned till the end of this video, because once you understand how to learn like a loser, your mindset about failure, success, and growth will completely change forever. The illusion of the smart learner. Look around you. In classrooms, offices, and even online. Everyone wants to look smart. Everyone wants to appear like they have it all figured out. They wear confidence like a mask and speak with authority, even when they're unsure inside. But here's the truth, my friend. Most people are not learning to grow. They're learning to impress. And that is where the illusion begins. You see, many people don't want to actually learn. They want to look intelligent. They avoid asking questions because they're scared someone will laugh. They hide their confusion because they fear being judged. They only speak up when they're sure they'll sound right. And in doing so, they lock themselves inside a small box. A box built by pride and fear. They protect their image so much that they stop protecting their potential. They forget that pretending to be smart doesn't make you smarter. It makes you stagnant. The so-called smart learner spends their energy maintaining appearances. But the loser learner, the humble learner, spends their energy gaining real understanding. The smart learner says, "I already know this." The loser learner says, "I don't understand yet, but I'll figure it out." One mindset blocks growth, and the other fuels it. That's why many people who seem talented early on often stop improving, while those who start slow, the so-called losers, keep getting better and better. When you only care about looking intelligent, you stop being curious. You stop exploring. You stop experimenting because mistakes might make you look bad. But that's how learning dies. Not from lack of effort, but from lack of humility. The truth is, you cannot grow and protect your ego at the same time. You have to choose one. To learn like a loser means to stay open, no matter how uncomfortable it feels. It means saying, "I don't know yet," without shame. It means laughing at your own mistakes instead of hiding them. It means being the worst in the room today and still showing up again tomorrow. Because the loser learner doesn't need to look perfect. They just need to keep getting better. And that, my friend, is how real growth begins. So stay tuned. Because once you drop the illusion of the smart learner, You'll discover a kind of learning that changes not just your skills, but your entire life. The freedom of being a loser. When you finally stop caring about what others think, you taste a rare kind of freedom. The freedom to be yourself. That's the true beauty of being a so-called loser. You have nothing to prove. You're not competing for attention, approval, or praise. You no longer waste energy trying to look smart, strong, or successful. Instead, you can use that energy for something far more valuable. Genuine growth. You don't need to impress anyone. You don't need to hide your weaknesses behind fake confidence. You can learn slowly, quietly, and deeply. You can take your time to understand things that others rush through. Because when you stop living for validation, you start living for progress. The reason most people never reach their potential is not because they lack intelligence or opportunity. It's because they fear embarrassment. They're terrified of looking foolish, of making mistakes, of being judged. But here's the secret. That fear is what keeps them ordinary. The moment you stop trying to look perfect, you become powerful. You shift your focus from performing to improving. You stop chasing approval and start chasing mastery. You allow yourself to make mistakes, to fall, to fail. Because now every failure becomes a lesson, not a label. You start to enjoy the process of becoming better instead of worrying about how you appear to others. That's when growth becomes natural, even joyful. Think about a child learning to walk. They fall hundreds of times. They wobble, they stumble, they bump into things. But they don't stop. They don't say, "I look stupid." They simply get up and try again, because their goal isn't to look good. It's to walk. And that's exactly how mastery is born. Now imagine if that same child stopped trying after the first fall because they didn't want to look bad. Ridiculous, right? But that's what most adults do. They stop learning new things because they don't want to look like beginners. They trade growth for image. So, my friend, dare to learn like a child again. Dare to be a loser. Because when you learn like a loser, you stop pretending and start progressing. You gain freedom. The freedom to grow, to fail, to rise, and to truly master your craft. That's the quiet power hidden inside what the world calls losing. Why the loser always wins in the end. In the beginning, people laugh at losers. They shake their heads, whisper behind their backs, and call them failures. They mock their small steps, their awkward attempts, and their slow progress. Society loves to celebrate instant success, not long, quiet effort. But here's the truth most people don't see. Those same losers they laugh at in the beginning are often the ones everyone admires in the end. Because losers don't just live, they learn. And learners never stop improving. When you fail, you gain something powerful that success can never give you. Perspective. You learn what doesn't work, what needs to change, and what your real weaknesses are. When you fall, you learn how to rise with more wisdom, more patience, and more strength. Every time you lose, you discover a deeper truth about yourself, your limits, your values, and your resilience. Each failure shapes your character and sharpens your vision. That's why failure, not success, is the greatest teacher in life. Failure doesn't flatter you. It doesn't lie to you. It doesn't tell you that you're amazing when you're not. It looks you straight in the eye and shows you exactly where you need to grow. And that's why losers who embrace failure eventually rise above everyone else. While others spend their time protecting their image, losers protect their growth. They don't give up when things get tough. They don't quit because of embarrassment. They understand that every fall is part of the journey. The people who win in the end are not the ones who never fall. They are the ones who never stop learning how to stand again. Every time they rise a little smarter, a little stronger, and a little more determined. That's why the loser, in the end, becomes the true winner. Not because they avoided failure, but because they mastered it. Ego, the enemy of every learner. Let's be honest. We all have an ego. We all want to feel smart, capable, and respected. We want people to admire our intelligence, our confidence, and our achievements. But here's the painful truth. Ego is the biggest enemy of learning. Ego blinds you. It convinces you that you already know enough. It whispers that asking questions makes you weak. It stops you from growing because it constantly tries to protect your image instead of your improvement. Ego says, I already know. Ego says, I don't need help. Ego says, I can't fail. And because of that, so many people stay stuck at the same level for years. They protect their pride instead of their potential. But learning speaks a completely different language. Learning says, I don't know yet, but I will learn. Learning says, teach me. Learning says, failure is part of progress. It takes courage to say those words. It takes humility to be open. But that humility is what separates the people who grow from the people who just talk about growing. When your ego is strong, you stop listening. You become defensive when someone corrects you. You see feedback as criticism instead of guidance. You care more about being right than becoming better. But when you learn like a loser, your ego disappears. You're not afraid to be wrong. You're afraid to stay wrong. You accept correction with gratitude. You welcome feedback because you know it's a sign of progress. You no longer measure your worth by how perfect you look, but by how much you improve. That's the mindset that creates greatness. The people who achieve true mastery are not the ones who think they already know it all. They're the ones who remain curious, humble, and teachable no matter how far they've come. To learn like a loser is to destroy your ego and open your mind. And that's when real growth begins. How to learn like a loser in real life. Learning like a loser is not just an idea. It's a way of living. It's about embracing mistakes, being humble, and focusing on growth instead of appearances. Take learning English, for example. Many people hesitate to speak because they fear making grammar mistakes or sounding foolish. But the truth is, every mistake is a step forward. Speak even if your sentences are imperfect. Listen carefully, repeat often, and practice as much as you can. Fail, correct yourself, and try again. Each small error teaches you something new, and each correction moves you closer to mastery. The key is to stay consistent and not let fear stop you. The same principle applies when you start a new job. Don't pretend that you know everything. Don't be afraid to ask questions, even if they seem simple. Be the quiet learner who observes more than they speak, absorbs knowledge, and applies it patiently. The people who rise fastest are not those who act smart from day one, but those who genuinely understand, adapt, and improve every single day. Even in physical growth like going to the gym, the loser mindset helps. Don't compare yourself to others who seem stronger, faster, or more skilled. Compare yourself to who you were last week, last month, or last year. Celebrate your small victories, learn from your weak points, and focus on steady improvement. Progress, no matter how slow, compounds over time. And when you chase your dreams, remember, failure is part of the process. You will stumble, you will get rejected, and you will make mistakes. But every loser moment, every fall, every setback is training you for the bigger wins ahead. Keep learning, keep adapting, and keep moving forward. Because one day, those small moments of struggle and humility will be the very foundation of your greatest success. The person who keeps growing quietly, consistently, and humbly is the person who wins in the end. The strength of humility. Do you know why the ocean is so powerful? It is not because it tries to dominate or because it appears grand and untouchable. The ocean is powerful because it stays low, accepting every river, every stream, and every drop that comes to it. All rivers flow toward it, filling it, shaping it, and strengthening it. Humility works in the same way. When you stay humble, knowledge flows toward you effortlessly. People are willing to teach you, experiences naturally guide you, and life opens doors that arrogance would keep closed. When you believe you are higher than others, when you think you know more than everyone else, your mind closes. You stop listening, stop observing, and stop learning. No matter how talented you are, if you are not humble, your growth is limited. Knowledge cannot enter a mind that is full of pride. Opportunities pass you by because you are too focused on appearing perfect rather than improving yourself. Humility, on the other hand, allows you to see the world as a teacher. Every person, every challenge, and even every failure becomes a source of wisdom. Being humble doesn't mean thinking less of yourself. It means thinking less about how others perceive you and more about how you can grow. It means accepting that you don't know everything and staying open to new ideas. It means asking questions without fear, listening without judgment, and learning without the need for recognition. So be like the ocean. Stay humble, stay teachable, and stay low enough to keep learning. Let every experience flow into you and strengthen you. That is how the loser mindset transforms into limitless power. The one who embraces humility learns continuously, adapts quickly, and rises higher than anyone who only seeks to appear strong. Humility is the quiet force that turns small learners into unstoppable masters of their lives. Curiosity over perfection. Perfection looks beautiful, doesn't it? It seems like the ultimate goal. Flawless results, impeccable skills, and zero mistakes. But here's the hidden danger. Perfection is a trap. It creates fear, fear of failing, fear of looking bad, and fear of trying anything new. When you chase perfection, you stop experimenting. You stop exploring. You stop taking risks. And without these experiences, growth becomes impossible. Perfection tricks you into thinking that appearances matter more than learning, and that fear slowly kills your potential. Curiosity, on the other hand, is the fuel that keeps your mind alive. Curiosity asks questions, even when the answers are difficult. It makes you say, "Why does this happen? How can I do this better? And what if I try this differently?" Curiosity encourages exploration, creativity, and resilience. It doesn't care about looking foolish or failing. It cares only about understanding, improving, and discovering new possibilities. The loser mindset thrives on curiosity. Losers are not obsessed with showing off. They are obsessed with learning. They embrace mistakes because every error is a lesson. They seek knowledge because they are never satisfied with what they already know. So the next time you stumble, fail, or fall short, don't tell yourself, "I'm not good enough." Instead, ask, "Interesting. What can I learn from this?" That simple question shifts your mindset completely. It turns failure into a teacher, setbacks into lessons, and mistakes into opportunities for growth. The person who learns like a loser does not worry about looking perfect. They worry about improving. Curiosity gives them the courage to keep trying, exploring, and learning every day. Remember, perfection may look attractive, but it limits you. Curiosity, on the other hand, opens doors you never imagined. It allows you to grow, adapt, and transform failures into stepping stones. That's why curiosity, not perfection, is the key to becoming unstoppable. Rejection is not the end. It's the lesson. Rejection is one of the most difficult experiences we face in life. Whether it comes in the form of a job you didn't get, a relationship that didn't work out, or an idea that was dismissed, it can feel painful and personal. But here's the truth. Rejection is never the end. It is a lesson. It is feedback disguised as a no. When someone rejects you, don't immediately take it to heart. Don't let it define your worth. Instead, step back and ask, "What can I learn from this experience?" Sometimes rejection happens because it simply wasn't the right time. Other times, it happens because you need more skills, more preparation, or more experience. And sometimes, rejection is life's way of directing you toward something better. An opportunity you didn't even know existed. Every no you receive is like a mirror. It reflects your weaknesses, your gaps, and the areas where you can grow. It is not a judgment of your value, but a guide for your improvement. The people who learn like losers understand this deeply. They don't cry over rejection. They don't complain or blame others. They analyze the situation carefully, asking themselves, "What can I do better next time?" They treat rejection as training, a way to sharpen their skills, strengthen their mindset, and prepare for bigger opportunities. Over time, this approach transforms rejection from something painful into something powerful. Remember, rejection doesn't destroy you. It teaches you. Every rejection, every setback, every disappointment is an opportunity to learn, adapt, and grow stronger. The person who embraces rejection, who studies it, and who learns from it quietly becomes unstoppable. So the next time you face a no, don't see it as failure. See it as a lesson. Rejection is not the end of your journey. It is the start of your growth. Why slow learning is still winning. We live in a fast world. Everywhere you look, people are chasing quick results, quick money, quick fame, quick skills. Social media shows us highlights of success without revealing the hours of effort behind them. This makes many people feel impatient, frustrated, and even defeated when their progress seems slow. But here's the reality. Real learning, real growth, and true mastery don't happen overnight. They take time, consistency, and patience. The person who learns slowly but consistently will always surpass the one who learns quickly but quits early. Quick gains are exciting, but they rarely last. They often come with shortcuts, incomplete understanding, and eventual burnout. Slow learning, however, builds a strong foundation. Every small step, every repeated practice, every small failure becomes a building block. It may feel insignificant in the moment, but over time, these small efforts accumulate into something extraordinary. When you learn like a loser, you don't rush the process. You understand that mastery cannot be forced. You take deliberate, patient steps, focusing on improving yourself just a little each day. You don't compare your journey to anyone else's. You don't get discouraged when progress seems slow. Instead, you celebrate the small wins because you know they are leading you forward. Slow progress is still progress, and small, consistent action often beats occasional bursts of effort that end in exhaustion or frustration. So be patient with yourself. You're not behind. You're not failing. You're learning, growing, and building skills that will last a lifetime. Every step, no matter how small, brings you closer to your goals. The person who embraces slow, steady learning ultimately wins, not because they are faster, but because they are consistent, resilient, and unwilling to quit. Remember, in the long run, patience and persistence will always outshine speed. Silence. The hidden power of learners. Real learners have a secret weapon: silence. They listen more than they speak, observe more than they act, and think deeply before making a move. While many people feel the need to prove themselves, to speak, to impress, true learners understand that the most important lessons are found when you quiet your mind and pay attention. Silence allows you to absorb knowledge, notice patterns, and understand what others often overlook. When you learn like a loser, you don't need to show off. You don't feel the pressure to appear smart, confident, or capable at every moment. Instead, you stay focused on what truly matters: understanding, practicing, and improving. You watch carefully, ask questions quietly, and reflect on what you see and hear. While others talk to gain approval or recognition, you use your silence to gain insight. You notice mistakes that others make, opportunities that others miss, and solutions that are hidden in plain sight. Silence is more than just being quiet. It is a powerful tool for growth. It allows your mind to process information without distraction. It lets you think critically, plan carefully, and act wisely. In a world where everyone is busy talking, showing off, and proving themselves, those who master the art of listening and observing gain an edge. They learn faster, make fewer mistakes, and make better decisions. So embrace silence. Don't rush to speak or impress. Learn to listen, to absorb, and to reflect. The quieter you are, the more you notice. The more you notice, the more you understand. And the more you understand, the faster you grow. Silence gives you a hidden power: the power to see, learn, and succeed in ways others cannot. The true strength of a learner lies not in words, but in the wisdom found in silence. The battle is inside you. Your biggest enemy is not the people around you. It's not your boss, your competitors, or your circumstances. The real battle is happening inside your own mind. In your ego, your fear, your laziness, and your excuses. Every day you are fighting a silent war between the person you are now and the person you want to become. And the outcome of this internal battle determines the trajectory of your life. Learning like a loser means showing up even when you feel like quitting. It means putting in the effort even when failure seems constant, even when results are invisible, and even when no one is watching or applauding. It means taking small, consistent steps forward while others focus on shortcuts or distractions. It means choosing growth over pride, learning over image, and action over excuses. The loser learner doesn't allow fear or judgment to control their actions. They know that every stumble, every misstep, and every setback is part of the journey toward mastery. This battle is quiet, unseen, and often lonely. While others complain, make excuses, or seek recognition, you continue improving in silence. You focus on building your skills, strengthening your mindset, and cultivating patience. You accept that real growth rarely comes with applause or validation. The person who masters this inner battle, who can control their ego, embrace discomfort, and keep moving forward despite fear, becomes unstoppable. If you can win the battle within yourself, you can win anywhere. Master yourself, and external challenges will no longer control you. The habits you build, the resilience you develop, and the discipline you practice will carry you farther than talent, luck, or opportunity alone. The path of learning like a loser is the path to internal mastery, and mastering yourself is the ultimate key to mastering life. Be the beginner, always. Winners often stop learning when they start thinking, "I already know enough." They become comfortable with what they've achieved, confident in their knowledge, and unwilling to venture into the unknown. But the true power lies with those who embrace the mindset of a beginner, the ones who remain curious, humble, and eager to grow. Losers, in this sense, are the real winners. They never stop learning because they understand that no matter how much they know, there is always more to discover, more to improve, and more ways to grow. Being a beginner doesn't mean being weak or inexperienced. It means being open. It means having the courage to start again, to try something new, and to step into situations where you might look foolish or unskilled. Every expert you admire, every master you look up to, once looked clumsy, made mistakes, and failed repeatedly. They stumbled, fell, and often felt like outsiders in their own journey. But the difference between them and those who give up is simple. They never let pride or fear of judgment stop them from learning. When you adopt the beginner's mindset, every day becomes an opportunity to grow. You welcome challenges instead of avoiding them. You ask questions, experiment, and make mistakes with the confidence that each misstep brings you closer to mastery. You understand that being inexperienced today is not a weakness. It is the foundation for becoming exceptional tomorrow. So be the beginner, always. Don't cling to your knowledge. Don't fear looking inexperienced, and never stop learning. The path to greatness is not about appearing perfect. It's about staying humble, curious, and relentless in your pursuit of improvement. Embrace the journey of starting over, again and again, because that is what separates those who grow endlessly from those who plateau. The beginner's mindset is the ultimate power of the loser learner. How real winners think. Real winners think differently. They don't feel the need to talk constantly or prove themselves in every conversation. Instead, they listen. They observe. They pay attention to what's happening around them and quietly absorb lessons from every situation. Their focus is not on impressing others or showcasing their knowledge. Their focus is on improving themselves, step by step, day by day. This mindset is what separates true winners from those who only appear successful on the surface. One of the greatest strengths of real winners is humility. They are humble enough to learn from anyone, no matter their age, status, or experience. They understand that wisdom and insight are not reserved for the famous, the old, or the highly educated. Sometimes the best lessons come from someone younger, someone less experienced, or even someone who seems completely ordinary. Real winners are constantly seeking knowledge, and they know that valuable lessons can appear from the most unexpected sources. These winners also embrace the idea that learning never ends. They recognize that no matter how much they have achieved, there is always something more to understand, another skill to master, and another way to grow. They see the world as a continuous classroom and themselves as lifelong students. This mindset keeps them adaptable, resilient, and prepared for whatever challenges come their way. Because they focus on growth instead of recognition, real winners continue to rise quietly but steadily. They don't get distracted by comparisons, envy, or the desire to look superior. They concentrate on becoming better than they were yesterday. And that is why they keep winning. Not because they are lucky or naturally talented, but because they have trained their minds to think like learners, not show-offs. Their victories are the result of persistent learning, humility, and an unshakable commitment to improvement. Practical rules for learning like a loser. Learning like a loser is not just a mindset. It's a set of practical habits that guide your growth every day. The first rule is to ask for help. Many people avoid seeking guidance because they fear looking weak or incapable. But asking for help is not a sign of weakness. It is a sign of wisdom. It shows that you are willing to learn from others, to accept guidance, and to improve faster than you could alone. The second rule is to take notes. Don't rely solely on memory. Writing down what you learn, your insights, and your mistakes creates a record you can revisit. Notes help you internalize lessons, track your progress, and reflect on your growth over time. They turn fleeting knowledge into lasting understanding. Third, accept correction. When someone points out your errors, don't take it personally. Take it seriously. Correction is a gift, a chance to see where you can improve. Those who resist feedback limit themselves, while those who embrace it accelerate their growth. Fourth, be curious. Keep asking questions. Why, how, and what next? Curiosity fuels learning, creativity, and discovery. It drives you to explore deeper and uncover insights that others miss. A curious learner never stops growing. Fifth, focus on effort. Skill is built through consistent effort, not through the pursuit of perfection. When you focus too much on being perfect, you create stress and fear that slow you down. Effort, on the other hand, produces real progress. Sixth, be patient. Growth takes time. Don't rush your evolution or compare yourself to others. Every small improvement compounds over time, and patience ensures that you stay consistent even when results are slow. Finally, enjoy mistakes. Every mistake is proof that you are trying. Each error teaches you something new, guiding you closer to mastery. By following these practical rules, you embrace the true power of learning like a loser. Steady, humble, and unstoppable. Final words. From loser to legend. My friend, the world will call you a loser when you fall. People will laugh at your mistakes, whisper behind your back, and shake their heads at your slow progress. But that's okay. because the world doesn't see what's happening inside you. They don't see the effort, the persistence, and the lessons you're quietly gathering. They don't see how much you are learning every day, how your failures are strengthening your character, or how every stumble is shaping the foundation of your future. Let them doubt you. Let them laugh. You don't need their approval. You just need to keep showing up. Keep learning. Keep improving. This is the mindset that separates those who simply exist from those who achieve greatness. And here at English Achieve, we believe in celebrating progress over perfection. We believe in embracing every mistake as a lesson and every setback as a step forward. You may look like a loser in the eyes of others, but inside, you are growing, evolving, and preparing for the moment when success becomes inevitable. Because one day, the same people who laughed at you will ask, "How did you do it?" And when they do, you will smile quietly, knowing the truth. You will say, "I learned like a loser." That simple phrase holds more power than any trophy, any title, or any applause. It is proof that you earned your success, that you faced failure head-on, and that you refused to let fear or pride stop your growth. The real winners of life are not the ones who never fail. They are the ones who learn, fall, rise, and grow until losing becomes impossible. So, my friend, embrace the journey. Learn like a loser. Be patient. Be humble. Keep going. And in time, you will live like a winner. Unstoppable, unshakable, and legendary.